Bureau reporter Kevin Fry joining us now live with a recap of this historic day. Good evening, Kevin.
Yeah, good evening. This was a moment long time coming for Joe Biden, taking the oath of office in a country that is deeply divided, still trying to come to grips with the reality of what happened here at the nation's capital, that attack on the Capitol building just 2 weeks ago.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Surrounded by his family, President Biden was sworn in by Chief Justice John Roberts. The peculiar look of this year's ceremony underscoring the challenges the country faces. The Capitol fortified after that attack, the National Mall empty due to the pandemic. In his address, the 46th president called for healing and suggested Americans can rise to the occasion despite facing the challenges of the global pandemic, political violence, a shattered economy, and climate change.
To overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy, unity.
Biden also called for racial justice, acknowledging the historic nature of the incoming administration.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
Kamala Harris is the first black, first South Asian, and first woman to become vice president. Not at the ceremony today, outgoing President Donald Trump. Breaking with precedent, he skipped the event, forgoing the symbolism of the peaceful transfer of power. Leaving Washington for Florida this morning, he spoke to a crowd at Joint Base Andrews.
I wish the new administration great luck and great success. Goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form.
Now, after the ceremony's midday, there have been a series of events. Among other things, we expect the president, yes, now no longer the president-elect, President Biden will be signing a series of executive orders dealing with everything from climate change to reversing the Muslim ban. Earlier today, underscoring that theme of unity that Biden talked about so much during his speech today, he was joined by several former presidents, a bipartisan group, George Bush, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton, all at Arlington National Cemetery, laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Obviously, as was already mentioned, one conspicuous person that was missing from that event would be Donald Trump, who flew out of town earlier today. Now, beyond that, there was a parade as well. The ceremonies of today continued, though obviously looking quite different, and that was true for the parade as well. Because of the pandemic, because of the security restrictions, it was certainly scaled down in terms of an in-person event, though they did have virtual elements that they were able to lean on instead. Something that we, of course, saw exhibited firsthand during the Democratic National Convention earlier during this whole election cycle, if you will. Now, the events are wrapping up. There will be more festivities this evening, but then they get to work. And Biden, of course, has a lot on his plate, as was mentioned in the piece, from the pandemic to the economic fallout. Expect him to get to work on some of that in the near future. But of course, he's going to be dealing with a divided Congress. The Senate divided right down the middle, 50-50 split, Democrats with a slim majority in the House. So now it's a matter of can Biden build off of what he promised and talked about so much on the campaign trail, being able to navigate Congress, bring people together, form compromises to get stuff done. That is going to be the challenge that Biden, after today's ceremonies and pomps and circumstance, is now going to have to deal with. Before now, reporting in Washington, I'm Kevin Fry, Spectrum News 1.
Exactly right. I'm here at Atrium Health in Charlotte, where just a couple of hours after the vaccine was delivered, Atrium's medical director of infection prevention became the first person in North Carolina to be vaccinated for COVID-19.
Several days of being out here in the town of Windsor, we finally got a look into the community, the mobile home neighborhood that was devastated by that tornado brought by the hurricane. Now, it's just heartbreaking to see. This is just one of the few houses that is actually still, if you could call it, standing. I mean, it's been torn apart. This is the site around this community, up and down Morning Road. So limbs down, trees down, homes that were there just gone, obliterated. It looks like an explosion went off around here. So I talked to a couple of
Sharon and Loretta, good evening to you and good to see you. We are in an untraditional election year, and that has made for an unlikely election viewing party here tonight.
President Pro Tem Phil Berger announced earlier this afternoon that the Senate will vote at 7 p.m. tonight whether to override Governor Cooper's veto of Senate Bill 37.
That's exactly right. I'm here at Atrium Health in Charlotte, where just a couple of hours after the vaccine was delivered, Atrium's medical director of infection prevention became the first person in North Carolina to be vaccinated for COVID-19. She's been waiting for today, just like other teachers in the state. She's an elementary school teacher and says the vaccine is an important step in returning to a sense of normalcy for teachers and students.
These are some of the medical professionals that were in attendance at today's event. This was a event here at the hangar at Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Some social distancing inside of the room here, but a much different look from what former Vice President Joe Biden's event was yesterday.
Now, President Biden's bigger priorities will require congressional approval, and considering Democrats have a slight majority, it's a very thin margin. It's going to be very tricky.
Ryan, you know, they were just kind of going through the motions. You know, they were allowed back in and they're just sifting through the rubble. I had people picking out some clothes, being like, hey, you know, this one looks okay. I had a friend of a neighbor saying, hey, I found a picture frame, or hey, look, isn't this your phone? I mean, just heartbreaking. It's just a pile of rubble, and they're just sifting through it to see what they can salvage. So we're right outside that neighborhood because as night fell, they're actually monitoring, the sheriff's office is monitoring that area because people's belongings are still there. So they have the area closed off so media couldn't go back in there. So we're just right outside of it. But look at this house behind me. So the entire side of the house, I mean, it's gone. You can see inside the house. This is the kind of devastation and damage that this county has suffered. Just the side of the house gone, and just horrible and heartbreaking for all these neighbors. At first, it looks like neighbors on Morning Road are shuffling through trash. But what they're doing is looking for anything they can save. This Bertie County neighbor says this was his sister's home.
Just helping her out.
But it used to sit across the street. The tornado threw the house with her inside. He says he hasn't seen a storm like this in years.
No. The last one that hit like this was over Corrine area.
At the far end of the lot, still standing, is James Jordan's home.
Clearly, you know, the tornado came through here. That's just clearly.
He's lived here for 25 years.
Why are we still standing? If it's not to me, not the guy, nobody else.
Jordan says his phone went off at 1 a.m., a tornado warning.
My wife called on the name of Jesus that we was released. The trailer was shaking, about to be lifted. We was released. And it had no choice. It just skipped over us.
And just like that, it was over.
10, 15 seconds. That's all it was. No train sound.
In pitch black, he walked out on his porch to find his neighbors' homes gone.
Well, we started finding people. Some we didn't find, and we was really worried.
He carried them to his porch with other neighbors helping out.
They was crying out, panic, afraid, you know, you're gone, that house is gone. The tornado picked them up, and they said they was twirled around. They laying on top of a vehicle, they laying on top of house pieces, they laying on top of air conditioning units, and you know, they're alive to walk away from that. You know, that's incredible.
Wednesday, Governor Roy Cooper stopped in, hearing victims' stories.
I just wanted to come tell you how sorry I am. This is awful.
Volunteers helping to find pets.
He was underneath the trailers.
Despite the heartbreaking sight, these families say they're grateful.
Our home was remained for a shelter in the time of storm to help people.
You know, and incredible, you saw that, just what these families have gone through, and they're still feeling thankful for having lived through this. For now, live in the town of Windsor, Vanessa Leon. Rescue Ranch is a humane education center that sits on 87 acres here in beautiful Statesville. The ranch houses over 80 resident animals.
Oh, I just want to hang out on your pole.
Rescue Ranch is unique because it houses all different types of animals. We have farm animals, exotic animals, and now with the addition of our foster and adoption program, we are adding companion animals into the mix here.
Are you cold, the Peaches? Are you cold, sweet girl? Yeah.
So cute. Oh, you're so cute. Oh, the Peaches are so cute.
We started the adoption program in December of last year, and with it being recently new, we're just very excited to start rescuing animals from kill shelters and placing them into forever adoptive homes. It's always been a dream of the founders, Chrissy Newman and Ryan Newman, that as well as rescuing farm and exotic animals and teaching our community about humane pet ownership, that we, rescue dogs and cats as well.
There you go to Peaches, there you go.
This one is Peaches and the other dog is Maple, and they were both rescued from a high kill shelter here in North Carolina. And so part of our mission is to rescue animals from high kill shelters. We're rescuing the animals that are in the high kill shelters that might not have a chance without us. So we're definitely saving lives here. The response from the community has been really incredible. We've received a lot of support, and if people can't foster or adopt an animal, people have been reaching out to volunteer or asking how they can help. And how everyone can help us is by fostering or adopting. If they can't do that, then they can volunteer or share our animal bios on our social media pages. And we're very excited to start rescuing more animals and getting them into their forever homes. Seeing dogs like Maple and Peaches where they were about to be put down just due to sheer space and enough resources in the kill shelter, it really warms our hearts that we were able to save them and give them a new chance at forever.